All right,
Straight.
here we go.
Bro, I was looking at your Bulldogs. I don't know, man.
Ah,
I don't know, man.
hey,
They're
you know,
eerily similar to each other. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, they do a lot of the same stuff. I think the monkey wrench is gonna be like play caller. Like all of them have been. I've been since Tuesday listening into some like Florida radio where it's kind of like Feinbaum except like Gators version.
Hmm.
They think it's gonna be the new coming of Spurrier because his kid. I think he's the quarterback coach now, so that's gonna be interesting.
That's crazy. Um, I was in a I was in a space with a bunch of Oklahoma and Tennessee fans earlier, dude. Holy shit.
Oh yeah,
They are both delusional fan bases. I was like, they're talking about like Boo Carter getting like 4 million from Tennessee. I'm like, bro, there's no fucking way they're paying a nickel cornerback $4.2 million. I was like,
yeah,
what are we? I was
man.
like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, you're introduced to the Tennessee Volunteer fan base. And I love the brother TriStar. He's great in spaces, but he's the leader of the pack when it comes to delusion. Man. So, welcome.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be letting him up here anytime soon. He's kind of crazy, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, he in there?
He came in the one on. No, he wasn't in that one, but remember he came up on Tuesday. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was transitioning from in the car to in the crib, so
yeah,
I
he
didn't hear much
joined.
he had to
He
say. But
he joined and I mean, yeah, just going crazy about it. So
yeah, man, Tennessee fans, that's what they are, man. They haven't seen success, and we're getting close to like 30 years here now. Not true success. They've had good teams. They've maybe won a couple of games they shouldn't have, beat Bama a couple of times, but yeah, other than that, man, they ain't really. They haven't really. They're trying to get back to the old days, and I don't know if that's possible. So.
all right, just put out another tweet. All right, we can go ahead and get started. Um, all right, welcome to the Week 10 preview show. We got Roddy up here with me, aka Perlito. How are you, my friend?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty well. Closer to the weekend. Just found out I'm working from home until Tuesday, so we feeling good, baby. Let's go.
Hell yeah, let's go. That's fire. Um, yeah, I mean, I only got work tomorrow, but and then it's the weekend finally. Sadly though, week 10 of college football, so gotta cherish the last month while we can.
Yeah, that is correct, and it's a 30-day month, so we don't get the full 4 weeks. So yeah, if you're listening, cherish it, man. It's almost gone again. It always happens this way, though.
Yeah, for sure. But we got a great slate of games, so let's waste no more time. First one I wanted to start with, we got number 9 Vanderbilt going on the road to number 20 Texas. This is a high noon Eastern kick on ABC. All of the lines that I will be giving out are presented by Onyx Odds. Use code LFTG over at Onyx Odds. Bet your first 10, you get a free 100. So can't complain with that. Can't complain with free money. So thank you to Onyx for that. So Onyx has Texas at -3. The total is at 45.5. Arch, from what I've seen, is still questionable coming in this game with concussion protocols. Obviously, went out late last week against Mississippi State, but they ended up coming back from 17 down to win that game. But speaking of that offense, they bring in the 90th ranked rushing offense, averaging just about 139 rushing yards per game. And also not very efficient in the red zone. 93rd ranked red zone offense at just an 81% clip. So not really efficient when they get down in the red zone. They also ranked 120th in tackles for loss given up on offense. They average around 5 tackles for loss per game, on offense. So yeah, not very efficient at all facets of the offense, especially if they're going to be without their starting quarterback. The backup is touted as Matthew Caldwell, who came from Troy last year and played in 10 games. 63% completion percentage, just over 1,600 yards passing, a 13-8 touchdown to interception ratio. So not the best of backups for Texas. Not really sure how he ended up at Texas, but he's there. So, and going up against this Vanderbilt squad, obviously Diego Pavia. We all know the story. This is Roddy's guy, leading the Commodores in the 24th overall rushing offense. But it's not all about the offense and Diego Pavia. They bring in the 18th ranked best rush defense, 24th best scoring defense at just giving up around 19 points per game, at around, and 9th best at percentage on defense, at around 53%. They also ranked 6th in red zone touchdown efficiency. So they are the 6th best team at not giving up touchdowns in the red zone. So biggest question I have, who causes more havoc on the quarterback? Vandy comes in averaging 2.6 sacks per game, whereas Texas comes in at a staggering 3.5 sacks per game. So they're averaging around 4 sacks defensively per game. And was last week a wake-up call for Texas, coming back down from 17 down to Mississippi State, obviously losing their quarterback in the process. Can Texas, have a little fire under them with Matthew Caldwell at the helm? And, could Texas possibly, pull off an upset here with the backup quarterback, Roddy? I'm curious about your thoughts.
Yeah, so a defensive kind of battle, because I think obviously if we're looking at the totality of the whole season, Vandy's offense has been better than Texas's. I don't think it's a question. I think that tackle for loss stat that was damning. I did not know that. That is very, very bad. I don't think of Vandy as having elite pass rushers. I think they're a better run defense maybe than they are a pass rushing defense, to be honest. I do think they can get home. I think they can get pressure. But I don't see them as they're going to be in the backfield all day type of team. Now, on the other end, Texas is very much that. As you said, they're almost averaging 4 sacks a damn game. That's insane. But I do think, obviously those stats are available to us. They're available to the teams that are playing and the coaches that are going to design game plans. So I think Vandy's going to be ready for that. If I'm looking at this, though, I'm looking at the line, and we've been monitoring it since Tuesday, since we were on here. It's up to 3 now. It was at a true pick'em, earlier this week, and it's moved 2 points. So I would guess inclinations are that Arch is going to play. How healthy is he? I don't know. I mean, concussions are very subjective. Like, you can feel good for a couple of days, and he might wake up on Saturday morning and feel like shit, and you got a game in an hour, and it's going to be 11 o'clock local start for both body times. So I still like the under personally as a play. I don't like really anything else other than that, because I think everything else is a little bit risky in terms of, putting my money on it. I do, if you want to pick a side, I think you have to pick Vandy, though. I think they're a better football team from top to bottom. I think they've gutted out wins. We saw that last week. I think the only time they've really lost the game is when they turn the ball over. Now, Texas can turn you over. I fully think that, but I think Diego learned from his mistakes in that Bama game, and I think they take care of the rock. And I do think they win, but that is more of an emotional play rather than a logical play. So give me the under. It's still at 45.5. I'm rocking with that.
Yeah, not mad at that play at all. Again, like I prefaced, I think Texas is in a back against the wall mode, especially with a backup quarterback. in this spot. They have to win out to have any shot in the SEC or the playoff in general. Already having 2 losses on their resume. So this Vanderbilt team is hot, but teams can slip up at points, and I've heard from countless people, on different shows and spaces and stuff like that, that Vanderbilt can take a loss and still look, pretty solid for a playoff spot. Just based on their remaining schedule. I think that Texas needs to be able to establish a run game in this spot, because if they could at least take a little bit of the pressure off of whoever's at quarterback, whether it's Arch or Caldwell. I know Texas hasn't really established a run game up to this point this season. It's been really ineffective, but if they find somewhat of a run game to alleviate the pressure off the quarterback, that could go a long way to their success in this game. My projection model has Texas at a 7-point favorite, so a way higher, lean towards Texas. Again, as I said, back against the wall mode, backup quarterback could provide a spark for this offense. I think I'm going to stay with Texas if I had to pick a side. I think I'm comfortable laying the 3. Don't know if I'm going to get it to the window and place that as the best bet for the weekend, but I like Texas in this spot. Again, Vandy's success has to, come to a pause at some point, and I think this could definitely potentially be the spot. So I'm going to take Texas at home. Liked them in the spot against Oklahoma a few weeks ago. Felt a little similar to this game. Texas, has been backs against the wall for most of the season. So I like them in this spot. I'm going to take the Longhorns at home and lay the 3 as my pick.
There we go.
Next game on the slate, a huge one in the group of 5. We have the undefeated Navy midshipmen going on the road to North Texas. This is another noon kickoff. North Texas is a current 6.5-point favorite on Onyx, totaled around 65.5 last time I looked. Let me pull it up live, make sure, that's still the number. Okay. Again, this is a battle for the top of the American Conference. And if Navy wins, they basically take a driver's seat in the American, making a statement to the entire country. Everyone's overlooking us for this group of 5 spot, but we can hang around with the big boys in the group of 5. So definitely think if Navy wins, they take a driver's seat into the playoff, and at least in the American Conference. So coming in this game, Navy brings in the 16th ranked scoring offense at scoring just over 37 points per game, 91% red zone efficiency on offense, 4th and 3rd down conversion percentage, 1st in overall rushing offense at just over 318 rushing yards per game, classic Navy with the triple option. 2nd in yards per play, they average just over 7 yards a play offensively, which is crazy. But on the other side, they rank 117th in pass defense at over 250 yards given up through the air per game. They are tied for 34th in the country in sacks and 41st in the country in turnovers forced. And especially against a high-powered offense like North Texas, 1st in scoring 46 points per game, 92% red zone efficiency, 32nd 3rd down conversion percentage, 3rd for first downs in a game, 6th in passing yards per game at over 370 pass yards per game with Drew Messemaker at the helm. But this North Texas defense can also give up big plays as they are ranked 18th, in pass defense, given up at around 170 passing yards per game. They rank 77th in scoring defense given up and 34th in sacks produced. So even though they are holding teams to a lower clip passing yards wise, they do tend to give up a decent chunk of points at around 25 points per game. So in my opinion, I think I'm going to stay away from either side in this game. Now, I do, lean Navy just solely because I have personal ties to Navy's. I want Navy to win. So I think I'm going to stay away from picking a side in this spot, but I love the over. It is a little high at 65.5, but with how efficient both these offenses are, both these defenses have been susceptible to give up a decent amount of points. so far this season. I think I'm going to lean over the 65.5 in the spot. Roddy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, huge game. Kind of for controlling interest in the American. Um, I, I am interested in your thoughts. Maybe we can see this. So the total 65.5, like you said, is very high. That's where I would lean. Drew Mestamaker, and of course we're on Onyx reading these odds, like we said before, is over 2.5 passing touchdowns is at plus 129. Now that kind of surprises me given the context of the dude had 600 damn yards last week. So what does that tell you? I genuinely don't know. I want to get your take on that though.
So I'm pulling up his recent games just so I could look at, because I mean, yeah, I wasn't even looking at player props, but that is kind of surprising. You're getting plus money on over 2.5 passing touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he's hit that in like every game.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And I mean, I get like in a normal world, if we're not talking about Navy and North Texas, somebody being over 2.5 passing touchdowns and plus money would be very normal. If this was the NFL, this would be very, very normal. Maybe it would be higher. Maybe it would be unnormal because it's only plus 129. Um, but that's kind of interesting to me.
So Mestamaker has hit this in 4 of the 8 games this season.
Mm,
He's hit 2 touchdowns twice. He's hit 4 touchdowns 3 times and 3 one time. And the Navy defense, although they do give up a decent clip of passing yards, they've only given up 1 or 2 passing touchdowns in all their games this season. So they haven't given up more than 2
mm.
passing touchdowns per game so far this season.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and this is one more I'm trying to talk out because again, like there's a lot on the line. I can't really rely on either defense to get me the stop that I need. Maybe I would lean towards Navy because I think a lot of what North Texas does is predicated off the passing game going. I mean, every game that they've won by a large margin, they've done whatever they want through the air, like pretty much anything they want. Um, so if Navy is able to keep them out the end zone, one, that's obviously the most important thing. Don't let the team score. Um, I think they have a chance to cover the 6.5, and I think they have the chance to maybe win outright. But I would say the safest play probably would be the over. 65 is a lot of damn points. But I think both teams are capable of getting to 30, given the defenses they're going up against. I would just be cautious. I might just watch this one as the total is 65, so there's going to be action.
Yeah, I mean, and how are you going to pick against your country? Like, what are we doing? No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, we
My
can't pick against the troops.
my model leans, heavily in North Texas. Has them at a 9.5 point favorite. So,
Mm.
um, again, don't know if I'm going to take anything with the side in this one. Just like Roddy, I mean, we both love the over. I think this has possibility to be a shootout, even though Navy, tends to run the ball, at a 9-to-1 ratio, I would say, just on watching them. Don't be surprised if Blake Horvath, tries to sling the rock a little bit, because
Yeah.
they can get some opponents. He's thrown for over 140 yards in 4 games this season. He threw for 339 against Air Force, 141 against Temple, 172 against Rice, 168 against UAB. So, don't be shocked if Navy tries to take some shots in this game. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, that's it for me, man. Just over or nothing. I don't, I don't see defense going to be optional.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Um, all right, now we're gonna move on to a game that it pains me to talk about. My Penn State Nittany Lions. I stand by that. My Penn State Nittany Lions go on the road to number 1 Ohio State. Uh, Ohio State is laying 20.5. The total at around 44.5. This game could be over quick. Penn State 37th in scoring offense at around 34 points per game, which shockingly is pretty good for a team that's 3-4. 55th in red zone efficiency at just over 41%. That's terrible. 80% or 80th in first downs per game at around 20. That's terrible. 110th in passing yards per game at around 185. That's terrible. And 55th in rushing yards per game at around 169. Even, you would think Penn State, even, based on historical, trends and just how they've played in the past, even our defense isn't, anything impressive. 29th in scoring defense. That's okay. You're giving up around 19 points per game. Around 17th in first downs, giving up around 16 first downs per game. Now this is the glaring stat to me. They are 67th in sacks per game at around 2 sacks per game, and 93rd in the country in quarterback hits at also just around 2 quarterback hits per game. And when you're going against an Ohio State offense that is 21st in scoring at around 36 points, 8th in third down conversion at a 53% clip, 24th in passing yards per game at just over 280, and 11th in yards per play at 6.9 yards per play. And you think that's impressive? Defense, first in scoring defense, first in red zone defense, first and third down defense, third in first downs given up, third in passing yards given up, 8th in rushing yards given up, first in yards given up per play at just 3.5 yards given up per play, and 5th in tackles for loss per game at over 6 per game. That was a pause. That was a pause for effect. Yeah, that basically tells you everything you need to know. I've said it time and time again. I just want Penn State to play with a little pride. Just don't give up. Just show some effort. I'm really just waiting for who's going to be our next coach, and it's not going to be Matt Rule now. So, Ohio State will win this game, but don't really have much on this game. Roddy, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, man, Colton was talking about, first half, Jim Knowles obviously having familiarity with the Ryan Day offense and what they're going to do and what to expect. I'm just looking back here. Texas, 7 points. Grambling, obviously nothing. Ohio, nothing. Washington, 6 points. Minnesota, 3 points. Illinois, 16 points. That was at the crib. Could have been worse. Garbage time touchdown. Still could not score in the red zone. There were like 3 red zone stops where Illinois had the ball on the 1 yard line and could not score. Wisconsin got blanked. It's going to be battle to ask, my friend. I think that's the obvious part. I think they cover as well. I think this probably is going to go up. I'm kind of shocked it hasn't, because we're getting a football number 2. Like, I don't know. That would be my only confusion on why it isn't a little bit higher, to be honest with you. I think we watched that Iowa game, and you would agree, like, there was true struggles with moving the ball against an Iowa defense. So what you think the number 1 defense in the country going to do?
They ran the ball. They ran the ball pretty well. If that's anything.
They did.
I mean, I put this out on my timeline before. Katron has to get at least 20 carries. That's a non-negotiable. He has to get at least 20 carries in this game. He's probably going to get close to 30 is my guess. But I mean, from what I've seen from the receiver group, I mean, nothing really to speak about. So,
yeah. And I mean, I think it's going to be a season of loading the box and daring y'all to throw the ball. Like, because I don't think Ohio State's. I think their front seven is what is the most elite part about them. I don't think they're core, but they do have the best player in college football in the secondary, which is Caleb Down. So I think it's going to be load the box and throw the ball if you want, and see if this kid can complete passes. But, ultimately, it's going to be belt to ass, my friend. I would not blame you if you lay the 20. I think y'all's team total is at 10.5.
It was
And again,
earlier, yeah.
Yeah, I again, only one team here. And this is again another game at the crib. They haven't been at home in about a month, so yeah, man, it's belt to ass, bro. Sorry, it's just what's gonna happen. So give me Ohio State. I'll lay the 20 actually.
Well, I was about to say no hard feelings, but now it's a big F you. Can't really.
I feel like I'm gonna get some payback later on in the show.
No, not at all. No, there's nothing down the pipeline. There's nothing coming up later in the show that
Well, if there is, second next game, you can preview the next game, and I'll be back by then.
All right, you're good. All right, we got number 10 Miami heading on the road to SMU. Total at around 50.5. Miami is laying 12.5 on the road at SMU. This game is another noon game on Saturday, so the noon window is kind of loaded. Not gonna lie. So coming in this game, this Miami offense, bounced back to last week against Stanford, and heading on the road for their first true road test of the season. This is their first road game outside the state of Florida all year. So some of the stats for Miami coming in this game are kind of glaring when it comes to facing this SMU defense. Miami comes in ranked 19th in red zone efficiency at around a 93% clip, whereas SMU ranks third in red zone defense, allowing teams to score at just a 64% clip in the red zone, or scoring a touchdown at least. So that's really efficient. But something that could be really uncomfortable for SMU coming in this spot. They rank 135th in passing yards given up on defense, aka they have the second worst pass defense in all of college football, at least Division I college football. They rank 135th, giving up just over 300 yards through the air per game. And they're a little better on the ground, tied for 15th on rush defense at around a 95.5 yards per game given up on the ground for SMU. And facing a 69th ranked rush offense for Miami. Miami runs it at about 154 yards per game. So those are going to be the two glaring things: red zone efficiency for Miami, and can SMU even keep up with the star receivers that they have, Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels, when you have a 135th ranked passing defense? They're terrible. But somehow they rank first in turnovers. They're averaging around 3 turnovers forced per game on defense. Whereas Miami, now this has changed over the last 2 weeks. They come in around 34th in the country with a turnover per game. Carson Beck a few weeks ago throwing 4 interceptions against Louisville definitely has changed, that narrative, that outlook of how Miami's offense can be that efficient. As for Miami's defense going up against the SMU offense, Miami has the 8th ranked scoring defense, giving up around 14 points per game against SMU's 50th ranked scoring offense at just over 31 points per game. Another glaring stat: Miami's defense ranks 11th in third down conversion, allowing teams to convert on third down at just a 29% clip, whereas SMU's offense is tied for 103rd in the country, converting on third down at a 36% clip. So if Miami's defense is able to force SMU off the field on a consistent basis, and SMU can't consistently stay on the field and keep drives going, Miami could run away with this game. Miami ranks 9th in rushing defense at around 87 yards given up on the ground to SMU's 106th ranked rushing offense at around 122 rushing yards per game. The model leans Miami at 7.5, so the current line at 12.5 has SMU covering comfortably. And I think I align with this just solely because this, yes, SMU has a very terrible pass offense. Miami has a very, very solid passing offense, but you don't just force an average of 3 turnovers per game for nothing. Like, you got to be a pretty good defense if you're forcing 3 turnovers per game. And I think Miami's going to try to, establish the ground game, and it's not going to work out to the plan that they want against this SMU rush defense. I think they're going to be caught off guard in that way. And then they're going to try to attack them through the air, where if they can get some semblance of a pass defense in this game, force 2 turnovers, two plus turnovers like they have in every game so far this season. I think SMU has the capability to keep it close, especially at a over 10-point margin at 12.5. I think I'm comfortable taking SMU with the points here at 12.5. Turnover margin and third down efficiency is going to be the biggest keys here. Miami's turnover ratio on defense, they are tied for 26 at forcing around 1.7 turnovers per game, whereas SMU's offense turns it over at around 1.6 times on average, which is tied for 103rd in the country. So the turnover margin and third down efficiencies are going to be the keys to the outcome in this game. And again, if SMU can force turnovers like Louisville did a couple weeks ago on Carson Beck, put him in some uncomfortable positions, force him to throw some balls that can be intercepted or put the ball on the ground. I think SMU is capable of keeping this within a 12-point margin. So I'm comfortable laying the 12.5 with SMU in this spot. Roddy, what are your thoughts on the Canes and the Mustangs?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me, by the way? I'm in the dungeon right now.
Yeah, you're good. You're loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, man, as you know, I have a client that's on my hate list in this game. That would be one Carson Beck. I definitely do hear you with what you're saying, with SMU and their turnover margin. But let me just look this up. East Texas A&M, or I don't know which Texas A&M this is. It's one of the Texas A&Ms that is not the Gig'em Aggies. Baylor, Missouri State, TCU, Syracuse, Stanford, Clemson with the backup, and Wake Forest, who again beat them by a point last week, and we've seen Wake Forest be kind of a scrappy season ruiner level team throughout the year. So in this one, man, I get that 12 is a really awkward number. I don't love 12 at all, especially 12.5.
Yeah.
I would be inclined to lay it, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be a level of speed that they haven't seen as well. I think Clemson did have relatively a chance to beat them. I just think they had their backup quarterback. And even then, they let their backup quarterback throw 42 times, and he still had 317 yards and 3 TDs with no interceptions.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a game about Miami getting 2 or 3 stops. If they can get 2 or 3 stops, score, maybe get a turnover, because, I mean, you saw Kevin Jennings. I just can't. I want to believe in SMU, but I can't get that game against y'all last year in the playoff out of my head. Like, that is one of the worst games that I've seen from a quarterback in a very long time at that level, being in the college football playoff. So you're going against a defense that, has a similar caliber as y'all did last year. They got a pass rusher who's probably going in the top 10 picks, like y'all did last year. They've got a secondary that's pretty good to decent. And they've got a quarterback on the other end, which he does have the bozo gene. Of course, he's on my hate list, but I think they can muster enough offense to cover this number. I would like Malachi Tony's receiving yards if it wasn't at 79. I'm a little scared of that. But Mark Fletcher's rushing yards are at 79 and a half. I do kind of like that. If you want to go, let me see how many passing touchdowns Carson Beck has. 1.5 at plus 102. I mean, I would slam that. I think that's my play actually. Now that I'm talking it out, even though he's on my list, you know that Reed. He's on my list. He's
He
a hate
is.
client.
He is.
But if I'm getting plus money at 2 passing touchdowns with a team that SMU that again, uh, Clemson's back up through 3 at the crib. It was at the crib. I get it. But he threw 3 and threw 42 times. I think you're going to see Carson probably throw around 25 plus. So, yeah, that would be my only play of the game. Would be Carson's bets. Carson Beck passing touchdowns over 1.5 plus 102 by Saturday morning. That's going to be at minus 110. So if you're listening, get it now while it's available on Onyx, of course.
Don't hate that. Don't hate that at all. Might even, I'm sprinkling that. I'm sprinkling that right now. Literally just placed it live.
Yeah, because I was shocked.
What are we talking about, bro?
Yeah, I mean they're going to be able to run the ball as well, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I think they're going to get enough possessions to get this, and Malachi might bust, a 10-yard slant and might take it to the house, 60. So
yeah, I mean,
give me the
SMU hasn't given up a rushing touchdown to a running back in 4 straight games. So I think the only way Miami scores is by their receivers. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Now, I think that C.J. Daniels thing, him kind of getting iced out last week is kind of weird. But, I mean, even then.
That was interesting. 3 receptions for 8 yards last week.
Yeah, really weird. I don't know. Maybe it's a hurt thing. I mean, we saw that with Ryan Williams in the Mizzou game where we're like, dude, this kid can barely fucking walk, but he's out there. So, hey, you gotta grade it how you do.
Yeah, even with Malachi Tony, he had a very underwhelming game. He only had 5 catches for 52. Like, I don't know what. I mean, they came out slow in that game, and then pulled away in the second half. But
yeah, but Mark had like 100 yards on the ground. He had 2 TDs, so they were running the ball well. So I get it.
Yeah,
in some capacity.
True. I mean, and it's Stanford. Like, we shouldn't overreact about it. All right. We will now go to your matchup, Roddy. We will go to number 5 Georgia versus Florida. Georgia is laying 7 on the dot in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, totaled around 50.5. Roddy, I will let you say your piece, and then I will give my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'll say it. I said it on Tuesday. I'll say it here today. I'll say it on Pay for Play, which Reed will be joining us on Saturday, 8 a.m. So please tap into that. I am only talking shit about 2 teams this year, and this is not one of those teams. Now, I agree. This is my most hated rival. This is our biggest rival. I go back to 2008 when they absolutely smoked the shit out of us. That's why Tim Tebow will forever be on my hate list because he ruined my childhood. All right, I would, stay home. On Halloween weekend, 3:30, game would be over by 5. So I could have enough time to go out and trick or treat. So, in this matchup, again, Florida obviously coming off a coach firing. They're could be highly motivated. I said this at the beginning of the show. I've been watching a lot of Florida call-in radio, and you got Steve Spurrier Jr. or the second or whatever his name is. He's the quarterback coach now at Florida, so he's going to be working with DJ Lagway. Obviously, since their head coach didn't want to give up play calling duties, um, he didn't. They're going to have a new play caller. This week. So there's a lot of unknown, man, in this situation, in this matchup. To be honest with you, I think that the first half, obviously, seen Georgia struggle all year. That's just something that they have not been able to start fast, especially in SEC play, other than the Kentucky game. But I think even in the Kentucky game, it was 14-0. It should have been 21-28-0. So um, in this game, I still have not found anything that I absolutely love. Spreads at 7. So, obviously they're favoring us to do this 5 years in a row, which I can't remember the last time we have beat Florida 5 times in a row. Definitely not in my lifetime. I can't remember. Um, I think it's going to be a heavy diet of running the ball. If running the ball doesn't work, Gunner's gonna, air it out a little bit. His passing yards are on Onyx at over 229 and a half. It's a little bit high for me personally, because I think, and I said this before, like, while they might not be the best defense in the SEC, my heart goes out to the Florida defense for what their offense and the positions that they put them in. I mean, you have a game at LSU early on in the season, and if your quarterback doesn't throw 5 damn interceptions, you might have won the game. With the way the offense was playing, with the way the defense was playing, obviously, we saw what happened to LSU. They have a coach firing as well. So, yeah, with this one, man, I am just chilling for right now. As I've looked, I would sort of lean the over because last year it was a lot of points. The year before that, there's usually a lot of points in this game, other than the 2021 year.
Roddy, you cut out. I don't know if you can hear me. Might have fallen off the face of the earth. All right. Well, I'm gonna say my piece now. Now when I was previewing this game, I was very shocked to see some of the stat comparisons between these two teams, and it's kind of surprising. So starting with Georgia's offense against Florida's defense, Georgia has the 40th ranked scoring offense against Florida's 34th scoring defense, 43rd red zone efficiency defense for Florida against Georgia's 33rd ranked red zone offense. One of the glaring ones, Georgia has is 26th in the country at third down conversion at around a 47% clip, compared to Florida's 70% third down, 70th in the country, excuse me, on third down conversion defensively. Very similar in rushing offenses, rushing offense for Georgia against Florida's rushing defense. Very similar for Georgia's rushing or passing offense against Florida's passing defense. It gets a little more glaring as opposed to Florida's offense against Georgia's defense. Florida's offense ranks 105th in scoring against Georgia, having a top 30 scoring defense. Red zone efficiency, this was surprising to me. Florida is tied for 9th in red zone efficiency at around a 96% clip. So when they get in the red zone, they're scoring touchdowns at 96% clip, which is kind of crazy. Wouldn't have expected that. But Georgia is holding opponents to a touchdown at around a 73% margin, which is 14th in the country. So that's going to be a huge factor. If Florida gets in the red zone, are they going to be able to score against a really efficient red zone defense for Georgia? Third down conversions, Florida ranks 128th in the country at third down conversions at a 32% clip, as opposed to Georgia's third down defense, 95th in the country, giving up a first down at a 42% clip. So that's another glaring stat. If Florida is able to keep drives consistent and move the chains against a really, I want to say really weak, but a weaker defense when it comes to third down efficiency. The last glaring stat, Georgia is 12th in rushing defense, giving up only around 91 rushing yards per game, whereas Florida's rushing offense is 102nd in the country, only rushing the ball at around 128 yards per game. So I was just shocked by how, similar, at least Georgia's offense to Florida's defense has been. I mean, Florida's defense has kept them in numerous games so far this season. So I just was surprised about how similar, those metrics are compared to, Georgia, a top 5 team going against, a Florida defense that just got their coach fired. So, first game for the Gators without Billy Napier coming off of a bye week. Are they scheming up just solely for Georgia? This is practically their Super Bowl for this season. Again, is Florida able to effectively run the ball against a top 12 rush defense? Can Florida get in the red zone? And if they do, can they keep up that high clip of efficiency in the red zone against a really stout red zone defense for Georgia? And what kind of pressure does Georgia create or lack thereof as their defense ranks? Let me pull it back up. Their defense ranks 122nd in sacks and 129th in quarterback hits. So
absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
Georgia to that. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Georgia cannot pressure the quarterback whatsoever. So does Lagway, take advantage of that. My model has Georgia slightly higher favorite at around 8.5. I'm with you, Roddy. I like the dogs to cover. Don't know if I'm comfortable laying the 7.5 as a bet, but I think Georgia, pulls away with this one in the end. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I could see a turnover. I could see a missed assignment, blown coverage. Like it's going to be more of a mental mistake. Because I mean, if you've looked at the Florida Gators over the course of these 10 games or 10 weeks, that's what it's been. The reason why they're losing games that maybe they had, in the bag in USF or were winnable games, like the LSU game. So I think it's going to come down to a mistake and us capitalizing off of that. For any of my degenerates out there, if you can find like a time of possession prop, I would definitely be looking into that because that third down stat, which I didn't know before, so thanks for bringing that here, is staggering because we're usually the team that can't get off the field on third down. But, Florida being 70th in the country, I think you're going to see a lot of Gunnar Stockton just like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, and we moving the chains to get a first down. So that's what I think the key for Florida is going to be. Like, can you get Georgia in 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, whatever. So yeah, I'm not on anything yet. I do lean the over because again, I do think there's going to be points. And I think Florida comes out with their hair on fire. I mean, I say this every year about this matchup. This game is only 70 miles away from the campus. Regardless of you think the stadium is split, they have a major traveling advantage. Like they have to get on a bus for maybe an hour and a half, and we have to get on a plane for, again, it's an hour plane ride, but still, it's 70 miles away from campus. So just do with that what you will.
Yeah, so I was just scrolling through Outlier just looking for, like other leans and stuff like that. Something that caught my eye was the first half total actually for Florida. So if I don't know if you can get it on Onyx though, is the problem. But I mean, we don't have to place everything on Onyx, but Florida's first half team total is sitting at 10.5. They fit this in their last 3 games this season. Georgia has given this up 3 times this season: 21 to Tennessee, 24 to Bama, and 21 to Ole Miss. And the last time they played Florida, they gave up 13 in the first half. Now, It's only happened 1 out of the last 4 times against against Georgia, excuse me. But I think that might be something I attack, just solely because of those better opponents that Georgia's played. They sometimes can come out flat, and give up a decent amount of points in the first half. So that might be an angle I attack, but I'm not going to make it an official play right now. But definitely interesting for sure.
Well, I can get you a football number. I can get you a 9.5. I mean, it's Bovada, so it's juice. It's -135, but 9.5. I mean, there would be no way for me to bet against that, man. Like we've been giving it up in the first half. We have not started fast. It is what it is. So we're gonna have to figure that out, and hopefully we figure it out this week. Because if we don't, hey man, there is a chance that Florida can win this game.
Oh,
But
I
a
agree.
different Florida team, discipline wise, has to come out.
I
So we'll
agree.
see.
I agree. I mean, especially first game without Billy, they might have their hair on fire. Honestly, I mean they have nothing to lose the rest of the way. And if you beat Georgia in a season that you already have 4 losses, pending more, and you go in and beat a top 5 Georgia team that's your arch rival, I mean that could make up for the whole season for sure.
Right, exactly, 100%.
Yeah, I mean it's just I hate using this analogy because the games are not even close in like intensity, but Michigan plus 20.5 last year against Ohio State. I will always use that as a reference for like an underdog. That was the freest bet
Mhm.
of my life. I even sprinkled on Michigan money line pregame along with the 20.5. Like that was free. That was free money. I'm like, there's no way. Oh, there's no way Ohio State beats them by 3 touchdowns. I'm like, it's the biggest rivalry in the sport. Like,
Right.
there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, but you saw how Ohio State was, even though last year didn't look like this year, they were still a great team.
Very
Hey,
true.
man, yeah,
Very true.
it's still a rivalry game, and that's what I tell people. Like, just especially with again, coach getting fired, all bets are off, man. So be cautious if you're a Bulldog. You're not going to just roll the ball out there and win. You're just not.
Yeah, rivalry games are definitely where anything can happen. Shit can hit the fan real quick in rivalry games. That's no doubt. Um,
Right.
this next game is not a rivalry, but it could be one day, maybe. I don't know. Number 23 USC, laying 6 points at Nebraska. Total is around 58.5. Story of this game: can Nebraska's defense hang around with this high powered USC offense? USC first in passing yards per game at over 326 per game. Against Nebraska's second ranked passing defense, surprisingly, only giving up 127 passing yards per game. But the glaring stat, when it comes to USC's offense against Nebraska's defense, USC 24th or tied for 24th in red zone efficiency at a 92% clip, whereas Nebraska is giving up a touchdown at a 94% clip, 127th in the country. So does USC just run up and down the field on them? Again, Nebraska's pass defense, who have they really played that has a potent passing offense? They played Michigan, gave up over 230 yards rushing on the ground. Who else did they play? Northwestern last week. I mean, I can't really say much about Northwestern. I mean, they beat Penn State, but nothing that's like out of this world. Cincinnati is probably the best pass offense they've played, and they rely heavily on Brendan Sorsby to just create plays out of nowhere. So, I mean, who's Nebraska really played that has a really potent passing offense? I mean, they even got ran up and down the field by Darius Taylor and Minnesota. So that's going to be the biggest thing for me. Again, USC going on the road to a tough road environment in Nebraska. It's going to be a blackout for the Huskers. Think I'm gonna lay the 6 with the USC. I think if they're able to run up and down on Michigan, that tells me everything I need to know. Nebraska 89th rush defense, giving up over 156 rushing yards per game. Yeah, I think Nebraska forces USC to run the ball on them, and I think USC will be able to run the ball on them. So I'm gonna take the Trojans with the 6 on the road. Roddy, what are your thoughts on the Huskers and the Trojans?
Yeah, I definitely feel you where you're coming from. Now, the one variable that you didn't talk about is the head coach of the USC Trojans. And he's on the road in a spot where the numbers, like you were saying, say that this, I mean, again, they're on the road, they're traveling across the 2 time zone thing. So that might be why this number is 6. But really, I think this number should be maybe 8, 7.5 at least. But it's at a flat 6 as well. I again, like I fully agree with what you're saying. I can't say that this shouldn't be built to ass. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
mean, we saw Justice for Michigan run for 149 yards, and USC's getting healthy as well. I can't get it out of my head. Their head coach and them maybe not being as prepared as they should be for this matchup. So
and USC
I,
coming off a bye.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I do think Nebraska's trenches are not that great. I really do, but um, I don't know, man. It was kind of like the Vandy and LSU game where Vandy was favored by 2.5. I was like, man, this seems way too easy, and of course, Vandy ended up covering. So it could be very much that, but I don't know, man. It just seems very, very easy. I don't know.
Yeah. Another thing I completely forgot to mention, Nebraska's offense, 127th in sacks given up. They allow Raiola to get sacked around 3 times per game, and allow him to get hit at around 4 times per game, which is 120th in the country. USC's defense tied for 15th in sacks per game. They average 3 sacks per game, and tied for 18th in quarterback hits, at over 3 quarterback hits per game. So is Rayola even going to be able to stay upright for Nebraska is another thing to consider.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if I'm looking at I think this is more of a props game though.
I agree.
Shouldn't talk. Makai's Lemons receiving yards is at 99.5. Tells you all you need to know
That's
there.
the baseline.
Uh that's the baseline on Onyx
Oh,
plus 101.
oh, jeez.
Yeah. So King Miller, is that the mistake? Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the walk-on kid, right? King Miller.
That is the walk-on true freshman. Yeah.
Yeah, his baseline is at 89.5 plus 103. It's a lot of plus money props on Onyx. So please tap in. Use Reed's code.
King Miller might be the play. Not gonna lie. Nebraska in their last 2 games, 148 in the touchdown to Darius Taylor of Minnesota, and 125 in 2 touchdowns to Komolafe, Northwestern's running back. So that
and I mean, even last week, like they played. I don't think it was a monsoon, but they played in wet, cold conditions. I hate blaming weather. I really do hate blaming weather because it's not like Nebraska is a warm weather city. It's probably going to be cold out there on Saturday night. But I think it being wet and cold, it doesn't run conducive for success for a team from Southern California. But yeah, man, this one again, it just seems too easy, man. I can't lie.
Yeah, I feel comfortable laying the 6 with USC. I just don't think Nebraska is at a point that they're ready to take the next step. I mean, that was a whole narrative coming in the season. Matt Rule year 3, they're a sleeper for the playoff. If they win 10 games, they're in the playoff. But I just don't think they're at that level yet. I mean,
Mhm.
they definitely need to clean up both uh, lines of scrimmages. That's for sure. You're letting your quarterback get sacked on average 3 times per game. Like,
Yeah.
you got to feel for Raiola. I mean, I think he's a great talent, but get the man some protection, which is pretty much non-existent right now. So I think he's gonna be running for his life like USC here. Definitely thinking about King Miller props. Gonna be looking at that for sure. 89.5 is his line on Onyx, and you're getting plus money on that. Like,
Yep.
wouldn't be mad at it. Wouldn't be mad
Yeah,
at it at
man.
all.
Love it.
All right. Second to last game on the slate. 7:30 Eastern kick on ABC. We have number 18 Oklahoma going on the road to Rocky Top to take on number 14 Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee is laying 3, total at around 55.5. Oklahoma's offense is first in red zone efficiency. That's kind of crazy? Then I mean, with how ineffective they are at running the ball, they are first in the country in red zone efficiency. They average a touchdown every time they get in the red zone. Uh,
Mhm.
as opposed to Tennessee's defense, 125th in red zone efficiency, giving up a touchdown at a 93% clip. So if Oklahoma gets in the red zone, you can basically book it that they are going to get a touchdown. But that's the thing. Will they be able to get in the red zone? Uh, if they do get in the red zone, it's probably going to be through the air. With Tennessee's 125th ranked passing defense, they give up around 266 passing yards per game, whereas Oklahoma averages around 246, 245 passing yards per game, which is good for 55th in the country. So, um, if Tennessee is able to get off the field, they're going to have to force some turnovers to be able to do that. They come in tied for 19th in the country. They average around 2 turnovers forced per game. They are 7th in sacks and QB hits, both at around 4 coming into the game, whereas Oklahoma, 85th in sacks given up. They give up around 2 sacks per game. 90th in quarterback hits. They give up around 3 quarterback hits per game. And 69th, tied for 69th in the country in turnovers. They average a turnover per game. So definitely the defensive edge, at least for turnovers, is in Tennessee's favor. But Oklahoma's defense isn't anything to overlook either. They rank 5th in scoring defense, giving up around 12 points per game, 7th in third down conversion, only allowing their opponents to convert at a 28% clip on third down, which is insane. Second in first downs given up. They give up only 13 first downs per game on average. 10th best passing defense, 6th best rushing defense, tied for first with yards per play with Ohio State. They are only giving up 3.5 yards per play. Second in quarterback sacks on defense at a 3.6 per game clip. And fourth in quarterback hits at a 4.4 clip per game. So if Tennessee wants to, stay efficient with their second best scoring offense, they're going to have to keep Joey Aguilar upright, and that is a tough task against the Oklahoma front. The line is at 3. Again, a question I proposed to you, Roddy, to get your thoughts on it. Can Oklahoma's offense sustain a shootout type game?
No, they cannot. This is quite literally the best offense in the SEC if we're talking by numbers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they've put up 40. I think I'll go through and count while I'm talking. They've put up 40 quite a lot. Um, I think if it goes into a shootout, I don't think they can keep up, man. Like, let's see. 40 first game of the season, 72 in the second, but it's East Tennessee. Scored 40 against Georgia, scored 50 against UAB, they scored 40 against Ole Miss or Mississippi State, scored 34, down 6 points, against Arkansas. Lost to Bama, obviously. They put 56 on Kentucky last week. So I don't think Oklahoma can get there. Not with their quarterback at his current you know, in his current stance,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with having that injury. Um, you know, it's really difficult for me to think that Tennessee is going to get turned over, because that's what I think the difference was in that Alabama game.
Yeah,
You know, they had the chance to score at the end of the half to keep it close, and then, you know, pick six goes the other way, and it's over. So Alabama's been good at getting turnovers in the red zone, and it worked out for them there. So I laid the three. I did it on Tuesday, live on the show here. I took the three. I just think that this is going to be a Rocky Top win. I do think that Tennessee's defense is not as far away from Oklahoma's defense. I think they have a very similar, and you can look that up. I know you got it in front of you. The sack numbers are very similar. So I don't think that John Mateer is just going to have a walk in the park out there anyway. I do think Tennessee can be gashed in the run game, but we've seen Oklahoma can't really run the ball, and I don't think you can put this game in John Mateer's hand. Not on the road in front of 100,000 people, man.
I agree.
I just I don't think that's it. So give me the balls. I'm laying the three. Also, I talked about this. We talked about taking out loans. Chris Brazel's receiving line, I think it opened at 65. It's at 69 right now. Um, Tomorrow, as soon as that paycheck hits my bank account, that is what I'm playing. So, yeah, like I said, Rocky Top wins, and they cover.
Yeah, we're hammering that line. That's the line right now? That's what it's at?
Yeah, 69 and a half again, plus money.
What? See, and I think that plays into Tennessee's favor. I mean, just going along with that, I think Oklahoma hasn't faced an offense that wants to stretch the field as vertically as Tennessee does. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that could catch them off guard. Personally, I think Tennessee takes some shots early, like they did against Georgia. Just puts their pedal to the metal, and just comes out firing. His line's at 69.5, yet Satangna's is at 79.5. Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. That's why I said I think they're thinking that Oklahoma's going to get a lot of pressure on Aguilar, and he's not good against pressure. The numbers reveal,
Yeah,
but I mean, dog, is they get up 14-0, that might be an insurmountable deficit. I know their defense, on the back end, it does stink, but if the quarterback can't complete passes accurately, it won't matter. So dudes can be running wide open. If you throw it 50 yards over their head, don't matter. So yeah, I think this is belt to ass spot, man. I'm being nice saying it's three. It probably should be 4.5 to 5.
agreed. That's what my model had at. My model has it 4.5. So completely all over the Vols for sure.
Right.
All right, one last game, and by last game, it's literally the last one on the schedule, or like second to last. Number 17 Cincinnati going to number 24 Utah. Utah is laying 10. Total is at 54.5. This is Cincinnati's best test they faced all year. Not afraid to say that. I mean, they've played Nebraska week 1, and Nebraska is what it is now. Utah is a better team than Nebraska. Utah has a better defense than Nebraska. They are 9th in scoring defense, only letting opponents score 14 points per game, 7th in passing yards at under 150 yards, tied for 10th in sacks per game, tied for 11th in quarterback hits, both at around 3 to 4. Yeah, I mean, the Cincinnati offense relies on the rushing attack. They average around a 200 per yard clip, which is good for 31st in the country. And they're pretty effective, with that ground game. Tied for 3rd at yards per play at over 7 yards per play on offense for Cincinnati, which is good for the 13th ranked scoring offense at around a 38% clip. And when they get in the red zone, 97% clip scoring a touchdown, which is good for 4th in the country for Cincinnati. But again, on the road, this is the best defense they would have faced to this point. Is this a bounce back for the Utah offense? Now, I don't know who's going to be starting a quarterback. Is it going to be Dampier? Is it going to be the true freshman who came in last week? His name is escaping me right now. He's a true freshman, and he got after Colorado last week. He was running all over the place. I think he had over 150 yards rushing. So, and that was a splattering. So, again, I think Utah is, as in what I've said before, like backs against the wall type of mode. If they want to stay competitive in the Big 12, have an outside shot at an enlarged spot for the playoff, this is a must-win game, especially against a team that's undefeated in your conference right now. I mean, and the line is telling you everything you need to know. It views Utah as a very strong favorite, even if this game was on a neutral field. The books view Utah as, a better team on paper than Cincinnati. A lot of power ratings have Utah higher than Cincinnati. Because again, I bring up the question, who has Cincinnati, really played? I mean, yeah, Nebraska, yeah, Baylor, go on the road to Kansas, get a huge road win at Kansas. They beat Iowa State at home. Again, they were favored in that game against Iowa State, so they would be power rated over Iowa State. They've also beaten the lowly UCF and Oklahoma State, not to mention as well Bowling Green, and I don't even know who this last team is, some FCS school. So again, this is Cincinnati's toughest test yet on the road at Utah. I think I don't know. Okay, I don't know if I'm comfortable laying the full 10 with Utah, but I think Utah wins the game for sure. And what impact does Cincinnati have in that strong run game without their lead running back Evan Pryor, who's going to be out for this game? I like Utah to win this game. Again, don't know if I'm willing to lay the full 10. My model has it at 10.5, so it's pretty much on the spot. So I think if I had to take anything here, I will take Cincinnati to cover, but Utah wins this game from my point of view. Roddy, what do you think?
Yeah, give me the Bearcats, man. I'm laying the 10. I mean, Colorado was just a dead duck last week, man. I don't think you can expect the game to go that way again.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, however, that maybe the win last week for Cincinnati was a little bit inflated. I watched a little bit of that game. I had it up in the multi-view. I think Baylor had the ball for 9 minutes in the first half.
Didn't that game also go into rain delay, or am I tripping? I think it was.
I think it did. I know it was a little ugly out there. Yeah. We'll have to ask Jake later. He was there. That's probably why his ass is sick. But anyway, yeah, man. I would still lay the points with Cincinnati. I think maybe last week's win, like I was saying, was a little bit inflated. I think Sorsby is a good quarterback. I think he doesn't get the credit maybe that he deserves. I think there's a lot on the line in terms of the Big 12. Satterfield, I mean, he's basically saved his job being in this game for, it being meaningful. So salute to him. I've thought about adding Kyle Whittingham to the hate list for what he does with the injury report, even though I think he's a great coach. But I think both teams' results from the week prior are not going to be repeatable. Obviously, Utah has the edge. I think if this is a Utah win, maybe the back door might be open. So give me the 10 with Cincinnati.
Yeah, completely agree. Hold on, I just got a text. Okay. Yeah, fully agreed. I think Utah wins the game. Don't know if I'm going to be laying the 10 though. Completely agree also with Sorsby, being a really good quarterback, really efficient quarterback. but this is the best defense he would have faced to this point for sure. And on the road, it's just a tough spot all around. So that will do it for the games I wanted to preview. I actually don't have any more best bets to hand out as of right now. Still, the slate is kind of messing with me a little bit just based on like my model and everything. A lot of the lines aren't sticking out normally as they were the last few weeks. So still working on trying to find best bets to put on my slate. But Roddy, if you have any more plays you want to lock in for the weekend, you got the floor.
No, I think that's it really for me right now. Of course, pay for play Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Reed will be there as well. So definitely tap into that. Yeah, I don't got a lot, man. I did kind of put Mississippi State on my, list of maybe their money line at plus 164, but I'm starting to walk that back a little bit at this point. I don't know, man. Arkansas is just such a weird team. I might stay away from it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, nothing really pops out to me. I've seen a couple of people be on Kentucky though, so I'll look more into that. But at this moment, nope, I don't got nothing. But obviously, we'll have more for you on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone that is listening, make sure to go check out Roddy's page at Paid for Play on YouTube and Twitter. Appreciate him in advance for having me on the show Saturday, 8 a.m. So make sure to check that out. Also want to mention real quick, UVA is a 4.5-point favorite on the road at Cal. They are on fraud / upset alert. I said that on Tuesday. Gonna throw that out again. Think that Cal could get him here. Not gonna lie. 4.5. I mean, Cal went on the road to Virginia Tech and hung around in that game last week. Virginia has to travel all the way across the country. Just think Cal is capable of keeping up with UVA, especially if you're going to beat UNC by 1 point in overtime. That's all I'm going to say on that game.
Yeah.
The only best bet I've locked in for the weekend right now is Kansas State plus the 7 points at home against Texas Tech. I think Baron Morton is going to come out a little flat. This is his first game back fully healthy, and he doesn't have the safety blanket of Will Hammond as the backup now. So if he does go down, it's going to get really shaky for the Texas Tech offense. Kansas State has been trending up the last few weeks. Avery Johnson's looked great, and I think Kansas State can keep this one close against this Red Raider team. So I'm going to take the 7 points with Kansas State. But again, that's the only play I've officially locked in. All my plays come out at around lunchtime on Friday, so stay tuned for that on my Twitter and all other socials. Roddy, any closing thoughts?
No, let's have a week, man. That's it. Appreciate you for having me as always. And yeah, let's have a week.
Appreciate you, my friend. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, 5 o'clock Eastern, on my Twitter at LFTGpod01. Thank you, everyone, for listening or watching, because we have been live on YouTube. So appreciate the people that have joined there as well. And we will catch you next week. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Peace.